dun, dun, dun. That's fighting music. A fight. Kind of silly music though. Oh, I should type up an announcement. Hello and welcome. If you're watching this, you only see this part if you watch the video on demand, because people usually don't instantly join streams. What am I doing? I need to put announcements into the Discord to inform people change of plans. Streaming on Twitch. Oops. Playing. What is this game called? Party Animal. Did I put my link for my channels? Is it really needed? Probably not. I'll keep it simple and sweet. Sandy Ness. Who did that? No, Grumpy Lycan.
One Grumpy Lycan just resubscribed for 16 months.
Grumpy Lycan, thank you for resubscribing. Thank you, Grumpy Lycan, too, for being such a supportive member in the community and helping other people and providing some comforts and reassurances. Wait, what was I doing? Oh, I should go to Twitter too, which is called X or whatever. Because I guess it's for adult content or something, I don't know. No, it's not. Let's see here. I'll post it here on X. There we go. I posted it. Wow, Susie's cute. Wait, Susie's cute. I gotta mention something about Susie's cute. I noticed while looking at subscribers, I noticed like Sandman has been a tier 2 for a long time. Big flex, long time. But I noticed Susie Q is not tier 2, but tier 3. So bigger flex. I just had to acknowledge that. Susie Q, I think you're the only one that does tier 3. I mean, there might have been some people in the past that tried it for a little bit, but you consistently are doing tier 3, I believe. Patreon Rat, hello Patreon Rat, hope you're doing good. Hello Noah. Hello Noah, thank you Susie Q for giving me Ziggbee hearts. Patreon Rat, that's beautiful, but not long enough. Let me show you how long you're supposed to do it. Here you go, let me see if I can do it and show you. Oh, I'm putting the wrong emote. I'm putting sib beans. I don't think I'm authorized to use those. Okay, close that. No, that's way too small. There we go. This is a little bit better. This is a little more accurate. That's how long.
You know, this is the second time you forgot to turn it off in mode.
Oh, it's an emote only mode. Thank you for changing that. It doesn't say who did it. I assume it's Small that did that. Thank you, Small. Axolotl, hello. Welcome. First time chatter. Maddie. Thugs, hello. Welcome. Oh, nice 420. Nice. Very nice. Muddy Blues, hello. Just for Jay. I haven't seen you in a long time, Just for Jay. It was me, said Small. This is the second time you've forgotten. I know, Small. Thank you. You're very helpful, Small. I really do appreciate you and your help. I do forget all the time. Normally I would forget to do the announcement as well, but I didn't forget this time, which is good. Just for Jay, hello Ziggy, hello to you. I never find you. Well, clearly you did. You found me right now. But yeah, I'm sometimes elusive. You're live early. Yes, KS, I am live early. I was planning not to stream today because I have something I have to go to at the time I normally stream. But since I was like, how about I do a little early stream? I had the time and stuff to do it because I was doing some almost you classified as dad things. I was trying to blow leaves and stuff because it's fall, but my leaf blower broke. I busted it. My toy's broken, so I'm gonna figure out how to fix it. I might have to go to a shop or something and call the manufacturer and be like, what do I do with this thing and fix it? Because the fuel line, plastic little fuel line, kind of disintegrated, which you need fuel to run a gas powered blower. Strawberry, hello. Welcome, Strawberry. Welcome. I did spend my time more productively. After I realized I couldn't blow much leaves, I'm like, great. So I decided to oil garage door stuff, and what else did I do? I cut a wood. by hand. It was pretty thick wood, by the way. What else did I do? Oh, some other minor things, but yeah. But I am here. I'm here. What turned off subscriber mode? Oh, you turned off subscriber. What subscriber mode was on too? Oh yeah, Small did that a while ago. Thankfully, Small's here and catches it. How are you doing? Very good, Strawberry. Thank you, Patron Brett. That's how long I am. Thank you. That's a more accurate representation. That is, yes, I can reach through space, past the moon. No, Small. That's your size, Small. That's yelling. I'm sorry if I'm yelling. I'm just being, what do you call it? Passionate. Passionate about how I feel about how long I am. You are part of the shorty squad with me. Now, Small, I'm long. I'm a ferret. Paige Mustang, hello. Welcome, Paige Mustang. Playing animal or party animals. I totally know the name of this game. I do not. Sometimes I forget. Paige Mustang, thank you. That is how long I am. Thank you. Little Strawberry says Small. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Should I invite people or what? I don't even know. Let's see who's on right now. We got Small is idle. Tatum Pancake is on Steam, but I don't think Tatum is aware I'm gonna be doing anything. And also Sandman. Oh, except yes, Small. I will happily join you. Did it work? Small, you're a kitty cat. Can you change who's sitting on the couch? You probably can, right? Achievements. Who subscribed?
Costume done just resubscribed for 24 months.
Thank you to Patron Rat for gifting a 1-month tier 1 subscription to Strawberry Wine. Thank you. That's so sweet of you to give us the strawberry.
Patron Rat gifted a tier 1 sub to Strawberry Wine.
Oh, I almost missed Costume One. I apologize, Costume One.
Subs in the channel.
How many subs in the channel? 43 subs, Patron Rat. Thank you so much for showing your support, even for a ferret that rarely streams. Costume One, thank you for resubscribing in 1 month at tier 1 and being subscribed for 24 long months. How many months is that? In years, you ask? Well, I know math a little bit. 2 12s equal 24, so that's 2 years. Costume One, thank you for that. Thank you for showing your support and being a wonderful member of this community as well. This community, I know other people say it, but this is the best community on Twitch. Sorry, everybody else. This is the best community. Small's whooping at me. You're a cat, though, Small. I'm just kidding. I don't know how you change your character on the display setting. If I click on that, will that work? I don't think I can. I was going to say in the title, drops are enabled, but I don't think there's any drops going on for animal. I mean, party animal at the moment. Costume One flexing. They're hype emotes that are earned only through participating in hype activities, which you have a lot. You probably got duplicates too, because you've been around for so long. Thankfully, you know, I get those too by default. I have a lot too. Strawberry says, beautiful people in the Ziggbee community. Yes, they are. Well, to be fair, I kind of rule like an Iron Fist tyrant. If anyone's out of line, I kind of... They're going to jail. No, just kidding. Small, you are welcome to join us into a game if you like. We can wait for other beans that may want to join, like Peachring Rat or Sandman is welcome. Knowing Sandman might be asleep. I don't know what Tatum Pancake's doing. Hopefully nothing. Nothing sus. Grumpy Lycan Axie is on the way. Thank you, Grumpy Lycan. Thank you for letting me know. I'm not sure, do we play with Axie? Is Axie gonna watch stream? I know when we were playing just for fun, casually, Axie was in the voice chat room enjoying the gameplay as we were streaming in Discord. Just for J2, have you played the new Mario game? The one where you turn into an elephant? No, I haven't. I don't really play console games much anymore. Yeah, I'm sure it's a very fun game though, because usually Mario games, Nintendo does a very good job making really fun, engaging, entertaining games with cool mechanics in game. You're missing out? Just for Jay, I usually am. No, just kidding. Listen, I don't have enough time anymore, it seems like. I need infinite time, and I can't get it. Maybe someday. Axie is in the disco. Voice chat.
Hello.
Oh, what? What's
Hello.
Oh, I can't read sometimes. You know, I read hydrate as hype.
Yeah,
saw
but
an
I
old
don't think you
notification from
can
last week
hear
for
us.
hydration. I was like, what is this hype notification? It's hydration. Who's in chat? Oh, I see Axie sneaking in there being quiet too. That's fine. That's cool. What's going on in Discord? Let me check Discord really quick here too. Axie. Sandman, I summoned you! No, I didn't summon you. I didn't do anything. We are talking by the... Wait, what? You're talking? Wait.
Yeah.
You are? Wait, let me... what's wrong here?
I knew you couldn't hear us.
Hold on while Ziggbee figures out what is going on here and I can't hear. It's probably... Let me see here. If I close this Discord... I have two Discords open. And if I go into settings... Let's see here, it would be devices, possibly? It's stuck in the stream mode. Okay, let's see here.
Hello?
Voice and video, that's probably where it is. For my output device, it should be my headset. Let's see where that is.
Hello?
Oh, we have voices. I don't know if you're going through the stream, though. Were people hearing you on the stream? I was talking over you?
I don't know. I know I've been talking since I first joined and you wasn't responding and I was like, he can't hear us, so I'm just gonna start typing.
I'm sorry, Small. You can tell me too if you think I can't hear because computers like to switch my settings around sometimes when I close programs, so yeah, I don't know which one it's using sometimes.
That's fair.
And I just got here, so.
Hello, Axie! Welcome. Small, can you go to Sandman and wake him up so he can come and play with us too?
I can try to
No, I'm joking,
contact him.
I'm joking.
He's trying to nap, so he might not respond.
Actually, he needs naps because I think he's been working too hard lately at his job. Let me go and close X. I don't need that anymore. I think no one needs it anymore. Fucking trash, sorry. You can queue us up, Small, if you want.
You're the
Bam, how did you make me the leader?
Yeah, I requested to join you.
Oh, okay. I totally know what I'm doing, not really.
I'm loading mine right now.
Cool, just let us know when you're ready and we'll invite you in. Well, this is a new place. I've never been to Gator Valley before. I haven't played this game too much. You see me play it on stream, basically. I played it off stream a little bit. But yeah, I don't have a much... there's a lot of...
I do have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Did you turn off the other team's voice chat?
I think I...
Axel just
they might have turned it
resubscribed
back
for 8
on.
months.
If it is, I'll freak out and close the program or something.
As I was gonna say, we was playing it yesterday and you had the other team's chat on and we could hear them.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Can I access the settings here? Yeah, I'll just go. Wait, how do I... Okay. We can access setting here. That's good. Let's go into sound. Microphone off. Listen, scope none. Nobody. Is that correct? I still heard people yesterday. Let's see here. Music, special effects, voice chat. Maybe I'll just turn that down. Whoop. Just to be safe, because people can probably say some wild things if they want. And they do sometimes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't get to choose! No! Oh, I guess I'm gonna be a
Hey,
rabbit.
we are both rabbits, so...
That's good. We're in the same team? Oh my gosh, I almost fell off. Where are you, Small? Small, no, Small, come on! Small, you gotta get back. Small, you gotta come back. Come back. I can't grab you, Greg. Oh, no, come back!
Ziggbee, just move!
Help me! Okay, no, come back! Okay, you know what? Listen, I'm not very good at this. Okay, I won't try to grab you next time to pull you up. Because Tatum, yesterday was able to save me sometimes. Small, you get quiet because you're mad.
No, I'm just throwing bananas at people.
Oh, cool. I never know what to throw, the bananas can make you slip, but I'm not sure if you can hit them in the head with bananas. The bombs are fun.
I don't know.
But they always
Yeah,
fall off.
usually I save up and throw bombs because that's really entertaining.
I think I hit one of them. Oh, I missed. There's a
It's
bomb.
making me feel tutorial even though I've done it already.
Ooh.
Like, I don't have time for this. Oh god, I got stuck.
Oh, that shark is very aggressive. You're a gold bunny. Did I push you in the water? I'm not doing it on purpose, Small. No, don't throw. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? No, no. Fair, I kind of deserve that. That's fair. I think if I had to rank all you that I played with, I would probably say that the best player so far is probably Tatum, Small, then probably Sandman, and then myself as far as at this game.
This game is chaotic.
Yeah. How do you get a gold outfit?
I honestly don't know.
Well, that's cool. Maybe it came out of the gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna grab you and... Oh, don't do that. I can't throw when you punch me in the face. There you go, Duck. You can swim. Oh, Duck, it's okay. How to get back up? Now. No, you can... Oh, Duck's kind of mad. The duck tried really hard to throw me there. A little bit too much effort. I think they were mad a little bit. Anyone looking forward to the weekend? I am.
I am.
Have any plans, Small? Just being relaxing, hopefully.
A nice all.
That sounds fun. Taser! No, I can never have good toys in this game. They always punch me in the face. Come here. Duck, I'm not trying to target you. It's just that you're in my way in my fist. I think I got supercharged punched there because that shark was glowing. And I flew very far. Oh, the shark's grounding anyway, so it's fine. Whoa! Okay, I throw a bomb? I'll throw a bomb too. There you go. Yesterday I could see a cool combination where one bomb exploded, threw the other bomb into a group, and then exploded that group and defeated a lot of people, which was pretty impressive. Of course it wasn't.
That was dramatic.
It was amazing. Oh, thank you, Axolotl. Thank you for a resubscribe 1 month tier 1B subscribed for 8 months. Sorry it took me so long to mention that. Duxie, I saved you once. You should no Tiger. The duck should be happy I saved it once. Duck, are you okay? Go in the water, shark! I didn't want to go in the water. Can we not? Can we not? Okay, you're just gonna pull me? Okay, that's fine. I did throw you in the water. This is a good example of instant karma too sometimes. You punch somebody, throw them in the water, you fall in the water, and they drag you under. But yeah. Everyone's running as if they're drunk. Yeah, they got lots of wiggles in this game. I'm not sure if it's the same makers of the game that... There were like these people that were wiggly like this, and they throw each other. Which one was that? I think it was... Yeah. I never played that game though. The one where they were like people.
There was Gangies and then Human Fall Flat.
Oh yeah. Never had a chance to play that game, but it looked always kind of really funny. Mochi Dragon, hi Ziggbee. Whoa, early Thursday stream? Yes, Mochi Dragon. As I was saying earlier, I wasn't planning even to stream today, but I have time before I have to go do other things today, so I'm like, I might as well squeeze in a stream. I was hoping it would be drops too, which is when you watch a streamer stream a game, you get stuff, but I think that's past for now. It was like for a skin. I think I missed out on it too. You had to watch a stream. You had to watch any stream for like, not a single stream, any streams for like 5 hours or something, and it would give you like a skin. Bonnie's got a gun. Wait, how do you shoot this thing? Hey, no, don't run towards me like that. I'm trying to shoot. Wait, where is everybody? Wait, what's happening?
We got blown off.
No, why shoot you this gun? No. Don't drink that. No. I can't swim. How do you swim? Can you swim? I don't know how to swim. I know how to really swim.
I think when you get too far, you can't swim back because it like pulls you away.
Oh, I see. But if you're in the water, directional controls might make you swim a little bit. Oh no, that's okay. Sorry, I was shielding your body, Small, from the explosion. Oh my gosh, get up! Oh gosh, okay, there we go.
You can't. The duck's after me.
No, what is this ape doing with the bomb? No, you're gonna try to blow people up. No, I'll protect you, Small. Okay. Does that count as protecting? Kind of, I think. Because I took the blow. You're still alive, Small!
I'm still alive!
See, Small is a really good player in most any games that I've ever played with Small. Naturally good at games. If I drink this, I get stronger. How do I drink this? I'm strong, everybody! I'm strong. No, wait, no, wait, I guess you can still hit me when I'm strong. Okay. Okay. I need to get the... Excuse me, let me just hold on here. Just grab on. There we go. Oh my gosh, what is this party thing going... Wow!
Yes.
Oh, screw you. Oh, that didn't work. I had too many bodies. I can't throw them all. Get in the water. No.
No, I got rid of someone, but I fell off.
Come on. Come on. Get. I'm not giving up. I gave up. Not on purpose. I lost my grip.
It's okay.
But we got one. That's, well, that's optimistic to say you have. You're at your last place, but you have. Okay. No. Where am I at? You're supposed. Oh my god. This game is very chaotic. Out of control.
We go back to the menu and get X.
Oh yeah, let's see here. Do you finish game, I think?
I'm
Yeah,
still
finish game.
stuck in the tutorial. It won't let me leave.
Oh yeah, it kind of forces you to do it. Thankfully it's not too long if you know what you're doing.
With the bling, and I don't want to fight him right now.
When I first did that tutorial, I got like it gave me an IQ like 25 or something, but the second time I did it was like 200. So yeah, you get better, I guess.
95.
You know what's strange too? The second time I loaded this game, when I played it the first time, they forced me to do the tutorial like another time for some reason. Maybe it's a similar situation.
I have no idea.
Strawberry wine. It's called Party Animals. Oh, I didn't catch that strawberry. Yeah, it's called Party Animals on Steam. Am I advertising for them now? I feel like I'm advertising. It's 20 bucks on Steam. It's a fun little game you can play with your friends or random people on the internet. It's like an ideal streamer game too. You can just have fun and play with other people and stuff. I wish they'd make more games where there would be like a code on the screen and people could just join in with the code while you're streaming. That'd be pretty fun.
I believe you can do that.
On this game?
Yeah, if you press invite friends, you can turn the team code on.
Oh, you can.
And then I think people can type in the code and join.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know it was possible.
But also, if we get enough people, we don't technically need to play online. We can just have it like a bunch of Zigbeans playing.
Have you ever? Do you know how that works? So, like, I know you can invite 4 people, but
Well, there's like quick match, but then I think there's like custom match as well.
oh,
I'm finally free from the tutorial. I can try to join now.
Woo! Also, hi Tatum.
Hello.
Tatum's sneaking in here too.
Tatum is. I invited Tatum to play.
Do any of you have Axie's code?
I do not think so.
Axie,
No.
can you? I guess in the gamer group, could you put your code? We can add you. Because I don't think we can invite. Unless I think we need the code. I think.
Yeah, you either need the code or you need to have them added as a friend on Steam.
Oh, I found it.
Let's see if actually they're friends on Steam right now. No, I don't see.
I'm blocked. I don't read this. Hold on.
This music is very silly and trollish, I feel. It feels appropriate though for the game vibe, but it's got like the womp womp womp. It's like that weird. Oh, thank you, Axie. I might hide my screen briefly. While I do this, where does the game at? Party animals disappear. I'm still here though. Let me see if I can find the code. Invite friends. You can do like add friend, right?
Actually, I sent you a friend request and then I can invite you.
New.
Let me find it.
Let's see. Let's send this. I sent a friend request to Axie. That should be good. Okay. I will re-show my screen. Actually, if you just look at friends.
Run.
There we go. Okay. If I just ramble a lot, you can talk over me. Don't mind me. Let's see. I have to go here and turn on party animals. There we go. Try to invite you to. Oh, you did already.
I beat you to it.
Is everyone ready?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Starting the match. What are they eating? That's probably like dog biscuits.
It's potato chips. No, it is dog biscuits. I see.
Dog biscuits, yeah.
They're potato chips.
Oh, I got a really good snack at like Costco. There's these like rice treat things that are colorful and they're made of rice. I don't know what they're called though. Never mind, that doesn't help anybody.
Fruity Pebbles?
I don't know if it's like, I don't know. It's yeah, I'd have to look at the name of it. I forget. Another thing I got though is something bark. It's chocolate, white chocolate, and sprinkles of candy cane on top. It's so good. It's like bark basically.
Christmas bark is so good.
Oh, it is really good. I have to like not eat a lot because it's very rich. Should I be the ape again? Because I feel like I'm more heavy and have more weight. Small has
Whatever you want.
Small has a cool avatar that you're supposed to be able to get with the drop, and I neglected to get. That's awesome. You got it, Small.
Yeah, I almost lost it because I watched streams for the drops, but I forgot to like claim it. And I only realized I hadn't claimed it last night, and if I didn't realize, I would have lost it forever.
Oh my goodness. Wait, what is this? Oh, sorry, I forgot.
I brought it away. Oh. Nah.
Wait, where did I go? Jeez, I'm just gonna run around here.
No,
Come on,
no.
go.
I got yeeted.
Why am I just holding with one? I need to get up there. Okay, there we go. Ow, I'm falling! Wait,
I'm dead.
maybe this is safe. Is this safe here?
Just chilling. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
What's this ad break stuff? Axolotl
How did you get that?
before too, so good. Oh yeah, it's very delicious. I'm gonna have more probably later tonight too.
Jason, how did you get the bat apple?
I think I just unlocked
Oh, I
it.
just hit small with the bomb. I mean, someone else hit small with the bomb. Look at you go, small.
It should be in the battle pass.
Look at you
Okay.
go. That's right. Look at that. Oh, look at small. Oh, who threw a fish at that wasn't me, I promise. Good job.
Ghost dog win.
Good job. What do you mean, bye, strawberry? Where are you going? Oh, wait. No, I don't want to go down there again. How do I control? I need to get back up there. Okay, I need to run, jump, hold, and jump. There we go. Now I can play finally. Oh, small. Whoa, 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 small. Careful with that. I think we need a protection from the wind. They're all gonna blow away.
I sure am.
Oh no! No, no.
I'm holding it.
Wow!
No, dog. You can't just come over and holding the button. I'm trying to do good things.
The cat's climbing back up, by the way.
No, I'm gonna save you, Ziggbee. No! Oh no, I fell.
What are you guys doing down there? Well, I'm gonna hope. Now there's a bomb here. Get that away from me.
No. You survived.
It rolled
you survived.
away, rolled
I'm gonna take
away.
this guy.
Come on, come on. I can do it. We can do it. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, the switch is breaking. The switch broke.
I got him.
Wow! I feel like a winner. That's awesome. Good job. I'm gonna jump and kick. Oh, that didn't do anything.
I'm just gonna run away. Ooh, give me. I want to take. I want to take.
No, oh, no. Did I push you? I'm sorry if I did.
No, no, no. I don't think so.
Oh, that's not helping. I'm sorry. No, 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 no.
Oh no!
Does that count? Oh, I see a cat. Never mind.
It took me to realize this means the gorilla.
What I was
You
gonna.
got it. You got it, Axie.
I got it. I'm doing it. I got it.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
No, I grabbed the wrong part.
Thanks.
You're gonna grab that.
Oh,
The switch. The switch. Everybody, work together.
saving you.
No, work together. Don't be selfish. No, no. You cat. Stop throwing. The cat is out of control. I can't move. Oh, I'm stuck here. I guess I live here now. I'm in the wall.
I took it out of his hands.
Throw the dog. Oh, that's your own teammate. You don't want me to throw it.
The diners.
Yeah,
Go
go.
to sleep.
Oh, go.
Oh no!
No, this is
Ziggbee, get
mine.
behind one
This
of
is
the
mine.
things.
We need to get safe.
Oh no! I got hit with the fish.
Oh no, no, no. Why am I unconscious? Wake up. No, no, I need to grab the thing. No, 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 no. I need to live.
No!
That cat again did it. Take that cat out. Okay, never mind. The cat's kind of good. No, Axie!
No!
Cat is.
got you.
No, cat. That's so mean. Oh my gosh, cat. No, you're being like bad. Sorry. We need to get up there. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Okay.
You got this.
Oh,
Guard me from the fish, Small.
hold the wall. Oh, there's all of us here. That's cool.
That dog is done for.
Woo! Look at us go. Oh, there's a bomb there. We did it. Good job.
We all lived! We did it!
Alright.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong, cat? Oh, it got in the fronts too. Oh, okay. Level reward, awesome.
I have a gacha, can I use it?
Oh yeah, I think if you finish game to get back to the store.
Yeah.
Wonder if I got something, I think. I got
I'm
money.
just surprised we all lived.
Yeah, that was epic. That was a really good job. I'm gonna get a surprise egg. I have enough to buy maybe 2. Come on.
Oh wait, no, never mind. I lied. I got mine after next round.
It's that one.
Yay!
Is that good?
Why are you so disappointed? It's so
Wait, that's so cute. It's got a wig.
just like Sid.
Yeah.
Just like Sib.
Wait, didn't I get that one? Converted to cookies.
Oh, because you've already gotten the skin before.
Oh, I see. So you can get duplicates. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, is everyone ready?
Hang on, I'm trying to figure something out.
Okay, no worries. Let me know when you're ready, Axie.
I was wrong, by the way. I have just very little XP. I get my coin after next round.
How much XP do you need? Over 2,000? Around 2,000?
604.
Okay. We might get that even if we lose, so that's good. Not to be
No, I
negative.
think you only get 500 if you lose.
Oh.
I still need nunchuck.
Yeah,
knockouts.
me too. I need 2 nunchuck knockouts.
I always see that achievement stuff.
It'll say like weekly challenges refreshing so long.
Yeah. I think I might have clicked out of the program so it doesn't let me click back in and see what the actual wording is. It says knock out 5
If
opponents
you
with...
hover over it, I believe it like scrolls along. Or at
Yeah, it's
least
not
it
doing
should.
it on his screen.
Oh, that's strange.
It's probably because I windowed out and it doesn't like that.
I remember what they are though. The top one is knock out 5 opponents with nunchucks, and then the one underneath that is knock out 10 opponents with headbutts.
Oh yeah, the head.
Those are hard to do, actually. I mean,
Me and Tatum
When-
got plenty of those yesterday during soccer.
When you knock someone out, grab them, and right before you're about to throw them, just knock them out again before they wake up. But
I'll try that. That sounds
because you're
complicated.
just grabbing them, it's easier.
I put like a TikTok video in the channel for this game, and there was 2 cool moves I saw that they did. I don't know if it's easy to do. They climbed up, and right when they climbed up the last moment, they kicked, and they knocked out a person that was trying to guard them. So I don't know if that's pretty cool. There's one other one too. I still don't know how to throw with momentum. Like I see some people like really just toss really far.
It's like a swing. So when you go to turn towards the ledge, you can get more momentum with the spin, and then you throw, and it throws them really far.
Okay. When you push the button, does it matter if you hold it down or just tap it?
Just a
You
click.
just tap it.
Spin and throw, says Kirby.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirby. First time chatter too. You must be watching because we're playing this game, I assume. Thank you for telling me how it's done. So I don't play terrible all the time.
I'm almost.
Oh, no worries. Kirby Lord. Kirby's that little character that sucks up all the things, if I can remember correctly.
Yes, you are correct.
It's not the only character that does what Kirby does. Is it Mario almost? I guess Mario doesn't eat things like the mushrooms and then he turns into Fire Mario and stuff. Kirby can steal your entire power or whatever.
Kirby just consumes you.
Yeah, you don't come back out, do you?
You can. He can spit you back out.
Or he can absorb you, right?
You did not just compare Kirby and Mario.
I was talking about the aspect of getting powers and stuff, yeah. Did they interrupt you?
I'm ready.
Oh, okay, cool.
Woo.
The Kirby gods are displeased. Does Kirby have a pretty strong protective fan base that like I don't know how that works.
He is baby.
He's a baby.
He is baby.
watch Kirby Lord leave like so he doesn't talk about Kirby. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. What's that word? Ichiban?
Ichiban?
Or is that an L?
Ichiban.
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 You know what that word means? I have no idea.
No.
I'm assuming it means ruins with poison. I was always confused too with this level. The head face.
Wait, when did I unlock the bat?
I don't know.
I think it's in the battle pass.
How cool.
No. Oh, you can I forgot there was an achievement you can get for like the slightly brighter version of the bat that you get for playing the like wind tunnel we just played if you don't grab like any of the levers or anything.
Oh.
And I guess I didn't touch any levers, so I got the bat.
Is that like an achievement one?
Yeah, some of the skins you get for doing certain things in different levels.
Oh, that's really cool. Each one and band equals one number. Oh! Look at me! I'm fancy. What's on the back? A little teddy bear? Or is that an otter? I think it's an otter, probably. Boomerang! Let's see this. I've never used this before. Let's see. And if I...
Oh, I knocked myself out too.
Maybe you gotta throw it. That's pretty fun. You know what's funner? This thing. No, don't hit me down. I just got this.
He's to go. Get him.
Chaos.
Oh my goodness.
Chaos.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, they took away my toy. Actually, your one character. Your dog character's like super fuzzy. I can like see it's like fuzz, like super fuzzy.
Oh no.
Oh, nunchucks! You know there's nunchucks here?
I need them.
Trying to get my points in.
Ow!
You knocked yourself.
How do you do? If you go too aggressive, maybe it happens?
Yeah, you can knock yourself out with the nunchucks.
Come back here, tiger. Tiger. Oh, I'm running into stuff.
No, oh, the boomerang got.
No! Go small. Get the nunchucks. Oh, Tatum, there. Can I bring you? If I pull your body, can I get you? Oh shit! I didn't mean to drop. Oh no! No! Jump up. Okay.
I'm taking this tiger with me.
Oh no! Watch out, Axie.
Whoa.
Worth it.
No! Get out of the point, Axie! Get out of the point, wake up! Aww.
They punched me in the butt and I launched.
I think the tiger and I just like Tried to kick, but didn't work out. Great. No, don't hit me with the bat. Thank you for. No, that's not thank you. Wake up, Otter. Oh my gosh, I didn't wake up.
I'm just gonna run. This tiger scares me.
Yeah, the tiger's kind of aggressive and pretty good.
No!
Oh,
No! I just got a fish.
I'll make sure he doesn't get back up.
No,
I got it.
get up, Tatum! Tatum, crawl! Climb up that! Got it, you got it! Use your wings, fly! You're a bat! Come on, you can. That tiger deserved that. Yeah, good job making them swing and fall in that hole. I wanted them to stay down there though. Oh, I want to hit that tiger. Aggressive tiger. Wow, that was mean!
I can't get a good aim.
The tiger's pretty
gonna hit
good,
small.
actually. All right, y'all, I gotta drive home from work now. Take care, Paige, and be safe. I'll catch you all on the flip side. Thank you for hanging out, Paige. Drive safe, okay? Hopefully get some snacks or something too at home. Something yummy. What's going on here? Are we doing okay?
I'm protecting small.
It's too big.
No!
Oh, no, that's not good. That's not good. I was gonna say with Small and Tatum we have a good chance, but now it's looking really bad. No.
No!
Oh, the tiger's too good.
Oh, Small's still in it.
Oh, get out of the poison. Oh.
No!
You got fished. Did the fish take you out, or did the poison get you first?
The fish.
Aw. The tiger's so mean! Get off of me, jeez!
Oh no!
No! Stop throwing me!
It's my thing! It's my lollipop! Oh, I fell down! Oh, I'm so bad at this game. Fine.
Darn it.
It was mean, Otter.
Stay right here. Oh my god, I'm in a safe area.
Ah!
I won't die down here.
My worst enemy is the poison. Gonna make a fancy dessert?
Oh, they don't know where I am. They don't know where I am. Oh no, it's starting to hurt. No!
No, Tatum.
Where are
I
you,
was in
Tatum?
such a good hiding spot. I was over to the left on your screen. I was down on the floor, but I wasn't in the poison.
Oh, I'm dead. I'm conked out.
Hey, I got my coin.
I'll go to the
Let me go back to the menu.
Oh, yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Hello, Smoking Jockey. Welcome. Smoking Jockey. It looks like you might be new here. How you doing? How have you been? I haven't been in here for a long time. Yes, so long. It recognized you as a new chatter. I'm glad you're able to find me again.
I just got a white gorilla.
It's Celeste. Wait, did I read that right? Celeste. Oh my gosh, I can't read Jackie.
Celeste Jackie. Oh my
Celeste.
gosh, hello, it's been a while.
Wait, you were in the Discord like a super long. Oh yeah, dark. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. You were aggressively pushing that dark bean warrior stuff. I remember. The chaos creator. There seems to be a lot of chaos creators in this community. I don't know what about chaos people like here, but yeah. I'm gonna grab a water and drink a little bit.
Okie
Did you get your coin thing, Small?
I did. I got a white gorilla.
Oh, cool.
and I'm never gonna use it.
Is it the one with the hair bun things?
No, it's just a basic white gorilla.
I see. Okay.
I'm just trying to get the pink otter. I want that one so bad.
That'd be super cute.
I wish it was a cow because it'd be a strawberry cow, but no.
Oh, strawberry cow would be really cool too.
Strawberry cows make me so happy.
I'm not very good at the soccer stuff, or as they say in the UK, football.
Football.
Actually, football's more appropriate name than soccer because it's a ball you kick with your foot.
Yeah, exactly. In American football, you don't really touch it with your foot.
I feel like that's one of those things that just easily angers a lot of people. Did my game crash? My game crashed.
No!
No!
I crashed and the character picked.
Oh.
No.
Maybe you can get back the here if you start it up again.
I'm loading it up right now.
If the game developers were like really pro, they would make it so from disconnects you can join back in, hopefully. Because I think you get penalized if we were to leave the game. I think we get penalized. We can't join the game for a while.
Ooh, I didn't.
And I always thought that was weird because, like, if people's internet do go out, like, it's not their fault. So
Yeah.
why penalize them for that?
Wait, what are we?
Then like I just crashed, so it's not my fault for that either.
Yeah.
That's something I do hope they change.
I think we're supposed to protect the goal from that ball getting in, I assume.
Oh
Yes.
no, I'm sorry.
Ada!
Here, let's go, let's go. We're playing, we're playing.
I'll be dead!
Good job. Okay, not for me. That was a bad job on my part. No, 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 no.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Tatum's just knocking everyone.
Oh, no, no, no.
Last game, the way I died last game, they just kind of grabbed me, held me over the edge until I died.
No, Blue Dog. No Blue's Clues. Get out of here.
No, I missed.
Yeah, good job. Take out Blue's Clues. No clues for you, dog. What? What are you doing? What are you doing, slimy dog? Come here. No, slimy dog. No.
And
Aww.
let
Good job, goaling. Good job.
it
No.
said previous not ended. Would you like to rejoin? I clicked yes, so I am on my way
Wow.
back.
Yay!
Yay!
Well, I'm glad Tatum and Small know how to play because you're doing a good job. Okay, you're doing a good job.
I'm messing with the dog.
Hit the ball.
I'm glitched? Okay.
Bonk it.
Oh, that's someone on my team. Headbutt. Oh, you can roll with headbutt. I see.
Yeah.
That's dumb. It tried to connect me and then it said removed from game due to inactivity. Whatever, I didn't even
Yeah, there's a
I
new
think-
person on our team.
I think it connected you, but it didn't show you on your side, so that it just came you for that.
That's dumb.
Oh yes, I'm not laughing at you, Axie. Sorry, I got knocked in the goal unconscious.
I'm sorry.
Wait, I don't. Okay. No. Oh gosh. Is this game supposed to be stressful?
Yes.
No.
No!
Oh. Oh, there's new people here too. Chat is so quiet. I'm not used to that every everything, all right? What are you talking about, Smoke? Chucky, you insulting my chat being slow? I don't have a huge lot of viewers, that's why. Plus some people like to lurk and stuff. Axolotl! Blue's Clues got that Sonic the Hedgehog color palette. It's a pretty good palette, to be fair. This is a Rocket League, but with animals. You know, it might be stealing the idea from Rocket League, but I think when the goal happens, everyone should like explode and fly in the air ragdoll.
No, because I think that's it.
Oh, good job, you almost got it. Small, you look fancy.
Thank you. I try.
No, get that. Okay, what's going on here? We got this? No.
Bless you.
Trick shot. Yes, bless you. Sometimes. Oh, no. I don't like this one.
Neither do I.
I just let the gorilla drag me across. It's fine. I'm just laying on the grass. Jump and kick. That hit nobody. Wow, come on, this could be our free ball. Come on. No.
Oh
no. Oh. So close. We're just gonna stay in the corner. What are we doing?
I knocked him out. Go, 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 go.
No. How do you? Oh my gosh. I almost want to
We
try.
need to go back to the menu to get Axie back.
Okay. I almost want to join that game alone and play with the ball to figure out how to correctly punch it and stuff. No, so aggressive. I'm not hitting anybody.
I think he's having a blast right now.
Jackie, where's Sib at? Sib is just chilling and relaxing right now. Oh, I got my knockouts. Woo! I just need to do the headbutt thing. I mean the nunchuck thing, I guess. I'm gonna have some dog treats. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Whoa! You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need one more knockout with nunchucks.
I need 5.
I'll keep an eye out for nunchucks.
Ooh,
I
there's a
wanna do the game one.
Which one are they gonna do? Oh, I'll do the game one then. I never did that one before.
Ooh.
Oh.
the.
I've-
Oh,
I've only seen this one on other streamers play this one.
I've never even seen this one before.
The
Neither
ball will
have I.
tase whoever's holding it.
I think if multiple
in
people
like
hold
30
it.
Seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. One person is okay.
Oh no, it's a timed thing.
Oh, okay. What's this? Probably eating some shrimp as well in a glass of coconut water. What? Didn't he hate shrimps and went to put them back in the water? What are you talking about? Oh, Axe, you have a fancy night one already?
I just pulled it.
Oh, that's awesome. What color was the egg?
Wow.
He is a legendary.
Oh,
Oh,
You didn't
yeah,
tell
he has
us?
a gold egg.
congratulations. Very lucky, actually.
I want to get the platinum one because it's sparkly. It's more sparkly.
Wait, is that supposed to...
Oh my god, I got a cape. Guys, I got a little cape. That is it's the wrong time for me to be flipping out over a cape.
Axie looks so cool, though. It looks so cool. It's gold, too. I'm supposed to grab this, right? Now, I'm gonna take this and put this in here. Wait, how do you throw it in there?
You got it!
How do you... Oh my gosh.
Dang it.
Oh my
Run,
god.
I got it! I got it! I got it! No!
Wow.
Oh no! Oh, my mouth thing.
How do you put it in here?
You
Got
gotta
it.
throw
Throw
How
it.
do you...
I got it. I got it.
No!
That's hard to do.
I got
Yeah,
it!
good job.
I got it! No,
Wait,
no,
did I-
no, 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 no.
Did I pass out forever? Oh, there we go. I'm good. I'm good.
I was gonna say, I hope not. Where did it go? Oh,
Run.
I don't know where I'm going. Where's the ball at? Oh, there it is.
Oh no.
It's gonna blow up, people. Come on, use your
Get it.
heads.
Oh, I suppose.
Whee!
There we
No.
go.
You throw it in there.
Yes!
I'm being dryered. Help me. Yeah, I have no idea how to throw it up there. You guys helped push it in, basically.
I used my skull.
There's something good for awesome. I got it. I got
Wow,
it.
good job,
I got
Axie.
Yeah. No. It was about to
It's gonna blow up.
oh, it is when people touch it. I'm sorry.
Tatum.
You're right.
Okay, thank you. Let's go.
Run, Ziggbee. Run.
How can I throw it?
Oh.
Axie, I'm totally jealous of your dog. It looks so cool. The gold and stuff and the cape.
I just like watching the cape flip around fast. Is this using it as goal for us? Oh, no, we didn't. Okay. I thought that there was like color coordinated sides. Those would be.
No, that was too.
Out there.
Did it effortlessly. Show off. Maybe let's watch it again. Will it show you? Did they jump and then throw? No.
They just do
I also got a like dark, Sith looking cat whenever I pulled for costumes.
Wait,
So
is
I
that the?
have one.
Wait, is that? Wait, do we lose? Wait, that's ours, right? Oh, yeah.
I was just crawling on the ground. What was that?
Wait, we're going again? I thought we already won. We got 3, right?
I fucking won! Oh wait, no. Wait, yeah. What? Oh, I got it! No, no! Step on! Using Tatum as a pillow.
Oh, good job throwing it.
Run, run, run. Get it in!
I can't.
I can't get there! Oh.
Yeah.
Go.
Put it in there.
Go.
Put it in there. Push it.
Go! Yeah! I had it! It wouldn't let me throw!
It took like all of us out almost.
Like,
See, they throw it so far. I need to practice that.
I'm so confused. Why is this still happening? They are wanted.
Yes, throw it in there.
Man, get it! Get it! We gotta get it!
Oh, sorry, Axie. I'm just grabbing on to you. Pulling you around.
Pulling my arm!
Jump and kick. Is it helping?
Oh no. Oh, no.
Wow.
Grab it, grab. No, I got it.
It's gonna explode.
Not in there, not in there!
What? Where am I? Oh, I'm knocked out. Oh, I'm knocked out.
Oh, sorry,
Ziggbee,
sorry.
put me down!
No! Ow!
No, the duck. No, duck. You know how to throw so good. Oops, I need to. Where's my? There it is. Okay, cool. I'm still streaming, right? Yeah.
Got it! I got it! Forget! Oh. I had it.
Oh, no. I'm gonna stay back from that. No, thank you. How about I pick it up and then go? Ah! Throw it! Ah.
A for effort.
Try again. No, I got Axie. I don't.
Oh,
How are they doing so effortlessly?
oh, this person just looked and punched me into the wall.
Aww. In this,
I don't like these sport-related mini games. They suck.
yeah, I agree. Anyone get any money or coins they want to spend?
Nor.
I'm not sure.
Nope. Alright, I'll start again. Starting up.
Although I am close to getting enough biscuits to buy the Ori skin.
Oh, cool.
I don't want to play any of the sports ones. Yes!
Axie and Shades just resubscribed for 20 months. 20 months is a wild tongue.
Yeah, it is a super long time. Thank you, Axie and Shades, for resubscribing. Tier 1 to being subscribed for 20 long months. Very close to the year. What are you laughing at, Tatum? Did I say something funny?
I didn't. That wasn't me.
Oh.
That was
Oh.
Getting sassy with Tatum and it wasn't even her.
I'm used to Tatum being
It was
sassy.
deserved. Yeah. It was deserved.
I should change back into the ape. I don't particularly like that skin, but I do better as it for some reason, I think. Or it could just be paranoia and superstition.
I want that Ori thing. He's super cute.
Me too, I'm very close to being able to buy it.
Ooh.
225,000 biscuits.
Even near it. I'll have like, I think I only have 2,000.
Ooh, racket. I'll take that. I'll just guard
Look.
this.
No, ow! I just got.
I got it.
Oh.
I got it.
No! No! Damn!
Oh, they got nunchucks. We need to get those nunchucks away from them.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Let go, let go.
They're
I just
invincible! We'll take them away from
I clicked-
nunchucks. No nunchucks for you, mister. You had
Oh,
enough.
I need them. I need them. Get out of here, everybody. Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now the duck's got a shovel. Out of control. Can you throw the? Actually, I should practice the fish. Okay. And then turn around and see. It's such a weak throw. If I do this. Oh, you have to charge it up. Maybe you have to hold down the button then release. Maybe.
Ooh.
Why are you trying to? I saw that. Now, if I hold down the button to throw. Oh, you hold down the button.
I'm just throwing fish. Merry Christmas.
Team, do you hear me? Do you hear me? Listen to me. If you hold down the throw button and then throw it, it goes really far.
Oh.
Look at this. Watch this. Fish. Oh wait, I gotta help you. What do you do? Oh my gosh. So you can basically charge it up once you pick up somebody, I think, and just like throw them. I think I'm learning. Wait, who am I attacking? The dog is one of them. Dog is winning though. Shovel beats fist. Just grab their face briefly.
Throw a fish. I missed.
All the poison.
You're in the poison.
That bomb! No!
Save me. Alright.
No!
No!
Poison's getting strong.
I didn't mean to knock me out with the fish.
You know, I
I
never
was trying.
pay attention to the stamina. Is that important for like surviving the gas, do you think? If I have like no
No.
stamina, I might die quicker?
The
I
stamina.
don't think so. It's just for how long you can hold somebody or whatever it is.
Or how long that you can sprint.
Sorry, Tatum, I gotta just punch you in the face.
It's okay. I did the same thing. Oh no.
Can't hit anybody. Come on. No.
Oh good. Just hanging off the edge. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I'm dead. I'm
Don't!
dead down here.
Grab my foot! Okay. Oh! How'd you throw me so far? Oh, because I'm gonna punch small by accident. I know I'm going to do that. Oh, missed. It's like we all can't see. Oh my gosh, why'd I do that? I know, it's stuck. Can you climb up this? Okay, there we go. I'm gonna get out the poison. The poison is coming. No, leave small.
This guy.
I need to get that hammer away. Oh my gosh, we're just. No! No! Dog! Dog! Don't tase me, bro! Oh yeah, headbutt, that's a good idea. We're all gonna die.
So, I think you're gonna get poisoned. You died. You're good.
There you go, green dog! How do you like it? Yeah,
I got a
throw
plunger.
them.
Give me the plunger. I want the plunger. Give me the plunger. Give me the plunger. Want to stick it? Give me. Yes! I'm helpful. Have a sucky situation. Oh.
That's fun. For the whole family. Why do I keep jumping into the poison?
Again.
My god! I'm getting knocked out. No!
Grab Funky!
No!
No, don't! I threw myself off.
No!
Why am I falling? Jump, monkey. Jump.
The Ori guy just knocked himself out with a boomerang.
Hit your friend again. That's funny. What is happening? Why can't I climb?
You need to hold it until you get up.
I was holding it. I was holding the hold button. I wonder if you can use a throw button to climb better. Let me try that. People let me.
No. Go away. Oh.
Oh no, if you do that, you let go, you kind of fall. Kind of like sad like.
Oh, wait, no, not the frying pan.
Excuse me, Wallace, I'm trying to learn this game. If you don't mind. Jeez, rude. Wait, that's me. That's me down there. There we go. Come on, jump up there. Jump up there, monkey. Use your monkey powers. There you go. That dog with weapons, I swear. This dog should not have weapons. What am I fighting the whole team?
Oh.
Good luck, Tatum. Oh my gosh, I feel bad for Tatum. Does that help? No, it just fell off.
Okay.
Hopefully the green dog will hit their own teammate. They fell off. I love when that happens. Oh.
That's it.
Ooh. We got one crown now. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Achievement? What was the achievement?
Hey,
I
I did all my challenges.
Where am I? Oh, I'm just body in the background.
I'm gonna go back to the main screen to see. I need to get more. Oh, there. Now it's working. I need to get some more headbutts.
I need 2 more nunchucks.
I've completed all of mine.
This is not the best idea, but it'd be nice if you're a group of other people and they get headbutts and they already completed, then you get some. Are any of these good? I guess the black hole's pretty good. The black hole. The event horizon. The red dwarf. I forget what they're called. There's different like black hole names or something. Based on how big the sun is or something? Or how big it is? Come on, where's my astrophysicist in chat? Hey, hello, Morning Bee. Are you an astrophysicist? Probably just read your message way late. I'm gonna be. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Oh, what'd I do? I just close. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, there's a cute
Shovel.
white auditor.
No, no.
This chain.
No.
Don't trip over the chain. Why are you getting dizzy? How did that happen? What happened there?
I died.
He kicked me because you were holding on to his upper waist.
No!
Oh, I need to punch you.
Make me laugh! Yeah.
I'm trying to headbutt too, but geez, I'm out of control.
Oh. No!
Maybe I should retitle the stream to how not to play party animals. you see that? I did a kick and blew through their fluff. Didn't hit anybody. I just climbed on that person's back. Aw, you're adorable, White Otter. You're adorable. Whee! Is this fun, Otter?
I'm holding on to Tato.
My God, no!
I got this. Throw!
Help!
No!
Oh no!
It wiggled out. White Otter's adorable, though.
Tato, help!
Oh, ah! Go to sleep.
My gosh, I lived.
Can I hold on to this bar back here? No, you can't.
Hold
I'm
on.
trying. I don't think I grabbed anything.
I can fly! Think happy thoughts, everybody.
Guys.
I'll save you small.
Thank you.
No, rabbit. Let's just keep going in a circle and punching randomly. That works out great. Yes, please do something. Hit them. Yes, thank you. That's what I'm talking about. Teamwork. Why did he get out of that?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh wait.
Oh, no, no,
Wait
no.
a minute.
No, 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 no. If you don't hold on to anything, are you doomed?
We're doomed. We're doomed.
Who gets credit? Aww.
One of the dogs lived.
I almost fell in myself.
This bunny is really on my nerves.
We only have one more here to go.
Gosh, no!
Nah. I handled one of them.
Oh, oops.
I shall help.
Good luck.
Maybe.
Dang it.
Trying to beat. Okay.
Trying to sneak. Let go. Grab. Grab. No.
I'm watching suspensefully.
Oh no!
What are you doing, Small?
I'm holding on to the chain. So the dog can't grab it and live.
Oh, that's a good idea. Good strategy. Who took the bomb at you guys? Jeez, that wasn't me, I promise.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, Tatum!
Bye, doggy.
I was holding on to a
Bye.
fish!
It's okay, Tatum. Minaxi's still up there.
Good job. Good job.
I was holding on to small space the whole time.
No, dog. Can you still be punched out with that? You can play. Oh, we need to hold on to something now. Can I hold on to this? Hold on to Tatum. I guess we really don't have to. The first time you're safe. Whee!
You're holding up to my toes.
Oh, sorry.
No! Why am I not? Ah. Nope, not the person I wanted. Nope. Okay. I'm gonna just go over here.
I'm just dragging this on.
Oh no!
But if you don't grab onto anything, are you doomed?
Yes, on this one.
No, don't say that! No, don't say that! Don't say...
Oh no, it's Ziggbee.
No! Pro tip, the outer edge fence, you cannot grab onto that. Boomerang! That was beautiful. Here's a fish for you, dog. Aw, Small, you're a survivor, Small. Small!
Nice,
I bet you
nice.
can't kick your feet.
Oh, you can't.
Oh my gosh!
You can't! Oh,
Oh,
no!
no!
No. No.
And
That's okay. You did good work. Team up. I can't think of anything motivational, inspiring to say. You did good, team. We'll get it next time.
that dog in the middle is me! Just screaming while everybody's getting a family photo.
I need more prizes. I need more eggs. Oh, my next one's just biscuits. That's no fun.
I got a bacon avatar. That's
Wait, you got what?
I got a like little character picture and it's big.
Oh, cute. Are you ready, Axie?
Yeah.
Okay. What was that? I heard someone's phone vibrate, I think. Oh, the sub is fun. Oh, the candy one's fun as well, too. Of course, I just picked the one. I named the ones fun are the ones that I tend to have one at, basically.
In all fairness, you don't think things are enjoyable if you don't win at it, so...
That's true. That is very true. I think that's why in matchmaking games, they purposely try to put you with people you can win occasionally so you don't always lose. They do sneaky stuff like that.
It's also not fair.
It's not. No, it's not fair at all, actually. It's pretty...
I'll become the shark again for good luck.
Pink shark!
Pink shark!
I'm sure Tatum can attest to that, playing, like, PvP type games. If you win too many, you could start putting in very difficult groups, I would assume. I'm making a lot of assumptions. Is that true, Tatum?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like the reward for winning a game is way less than the consequence of losing a game. So you're just always, the term is hard stuck, meaning you just can't leave your rank because it's not giving you enough.
Oh, yeah. That was something like that in World of Warcraft. Oh my gosh, I almost fell in the misfell thing. Tatum, you okay, Tatum?
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
No.
That was
Get this side duck out of here. Gosh, I keep just running back and forth. Watch out for that missile. It's gonna get you.
got it. I got it.
The other team just like fallen off by mistake.
That's what I just did.
Da.
No, ow. Ow. No.
How do you grab on, monkey? Monkey, grab onto something.
Thank you.
Oh no.
Oh,
That's okay.
I didn't know that happened.
How are we doing over here? So far it's 50-50.
Kinda bad.
Actually, if Small can shark her way over there. Go Small! Outnumber him.
Oh no!
Hey
I'm throwing a
now!
bomb over there. That's it. Will this help? Kind of?
No. No. Oh,
I'm drowning.
I lost because Tatum grabbed me.
I was going for the owl and then you jumped in.
Hey dog, you want a fish?
help, help, help.
Goodbye, dog. Ooh, bat! Bat! I'm gonna be the best. Well, I can grab the thing. I'm gonna go over here and hide for a second. No one come over here. I'm busy with something. Okay, put the bat down. Now I need to pick it up. Come on, pick it. Pick up the bat. Oh my gosh, Monkey, would you pick up the bat? Grab it with your. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is correct. Okay.
This dog!
Oh, whoops, that was terrible. Let go of the bat. The bat won't save you. Oh, how did I jet? Okay, what happened there? Did you see that? I just.
By the way, there's only the owl left if you can get the owl.
Oh, let's see. I want to throw a fish, but I'm afraid I'm going to hit my own teammates. Wait, there's a dog in his bag.
Oh, wait, the dog's bag.
Oh, they. Oh my gosh.
Gonna. No, 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 no.
What is happening? You got it, Axie. Go to safety. Tatum is subduing the dog. You're doing a great job.
The owl's still alive.
Let go of the things, Tatum. Oh my gosh.
No.
Where'd that owl come from?
They've been latched to the side.
Oh no, don't hit. Okay.
Yes! Take out the owl!
Drown! No!
I know the owl!
Throw him! Yeah, stay behind that pole too. Oh my gosh, no! The owl has like 9 lives. What is up with the owl?
Let it go eat! No!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm still in it.
Owl, go away!
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable. Oh no, what is who's gonna win? Whoever dies last, I
I
guess.
drowned first.
Aww.
Oh wait.
Wait. Hold. Hold. What is happening? I mean,
What's going
I
on
drowned
there?
first. His stamina. He had more stamina than me.
I see.
Somebody yeeted a bomb at my face. That's what got me.
I want that, but it fell in the hole.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Sorry. I'm just gonna go over this way. And I'm just...
The owl is just like jumping in the water and stuff. Oh gosh, I did that, Tatum. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No!
Ooh, the boomerang could be fun.
Oh my god! Into the turf propeller.
I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
Is there a rocket coming out? I'm gonna wanna. Okay.
Nope, nope. I'm trying to
Would
get
you
the owl.
would you get out of the rocket thing? Oh my gosh.
Nope. I sacrificed myself to get rid of that owl.
Good job. No, who's doing that? Dog.
The dog.
No, I'm gonna float for a little bit. Okay.
He's gone. He's gone. Everyone's climbing to the top.
Oh gosh. Come
I
on,
got the dog.
Come on. Climb,
Oh,
monkey.
I broke-
Climb. Oh, that's. You kind of fell in the water there, buddy. Oh, I'm seeing your team just fall off. I love that. Thank you. Hello, Small. How you doing? You're doing good work.
Hello.
The dog's coming back up.
Oh, I almost fell off there. Oh, they keep coming back.
Oh, now there's the lizard.
I should have tried.
Take me.
Oh, that's what you're staying on.
Oh,
Okay, I'm just gonna hold on then.
Oh, drift away. Why was he not drifting away?
Oh, I
No,
died still.
no.
I'm stuck though, so it's okay for now.
I got him.
This is brutal.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, Oh my gosh.
Oh, I missed. Oh no!
How are they a better swimmer?
I can't even see them anymore.
They are gone.
No.
Camera 1, camera 2. Okay, yeah, I don't see him anymore.
They were between all of them.
Whee!
Aww! Okay, that one's cute.
I got cookie or biscuits. Biscuits. I'm gonna play once more, and then I have to head out, everybody.
Aw.
I better see how much money. Oops, no, not that. Okay, I'm gonna look at the item shop really quick. Even though I've looked at it like many times, I still want to look at it again and again. Okay.
I just left so I can reload the game because I broke.
No. Okay, let me know when you're back.
Okay.
Can I tell you a horrible, not a horrible, horrible experience?
Oh wait, Sandman's awake.
Sandman, you're running out of time. Better hurry up. Just kidding. Actually, Sandman can join after I leave too. If Sandman doesn't come on in time. Has this ever happened to anybody? You're in a public place, and I'm afraid to cough now because of the dark times. And you try not to cough, and your throat just gets more and more itchy, and you're trying to hold it in, and then your eyes start to tear up.
I just gave up.
You just give up?
I'm a natural cougher, so it'll be worse if I try and hold it back.
It does get worse and worse, you're right. I should just cough.
I'll just be sitting here at my desk, and I'll just be breathing, and then a magic, like, popcorn kernel comes out of nowhere, and it feels like it's lodged in my throat. And I just die, just breathing.
Jeez.
I am just saying, if Sandman does want to play with us, we can technically play all 5 of us, I believe, with a private session.
Oh, yeah, we can give that a try, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you some of those TikToks I find, Ziggbee.
Please do.
Just existing and then all of a sudden choke.
Online. I want a fancy frame. Nah. They should have more avatar icons. That's cute. Animal level 60. I've never read chat. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible streamer. Let's see here. Eliminate the enemy. How long ago was that message? I should put timestamps on messaging. Hello, Sandman. I assume you can hear me. No. Why do you say no, Sandman? What's wrong? Oh, you were watching the battle.
Hello.
Hello.
I just do iPad Kid. What does that mean? Are you playing this game on iPad?
No, it's not
SP92
complicated.
just resubscribed for 31 months. Fox Noises Ziggbee Pure didn't realize you were level up at 31 MNTS. What a time
Oh,
it's
no, I
been.
closed
What
everything.
everyone platonically Fox Noises and Fox squeezes, and as always Fox.
Okay,
Prince,
I am
Fox.
here.
Welcome, Sandman.
Welcome.
I might turn down my. Oops, no. I don't want to leave the team. Oh no, I might have to wait to get in the game first. I was gonna turn down the game audio.
Yeah, when you get in the game, you can mess with the settings.
Because I wanted to listen to Sandman's beautiful UK voice.
Ah.
Salmon, did you play any more from yesterday or no?
I played a little bit in the morning, but I put it on the Steam Deck, so I played in bed. Like,
Cool.
so I did a couple of new maps I hadn't done before. So,
Did you win some?
yeah, I did.
Oh, that's
I did.
awesome.
I won because it put me in with like it puts you in play teams of 2. And I managed. I not to toot my own horn too much, but I got us to win. The other person wasn't. Well, they're okay, but I won. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is Salmon in the group? I can't tell.
Yes.
How do you tell that?
It's me with the
It's right
golden
there next to X.
golden face, little poop.
Oh, right there. Oh my gosh, I can't see apparently. Small, can you join too? You said there might be 5 people or no?
It's only 4 for online unless we do a custom.
Let's go back and try that.
Okay. We could all just beat up each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
Oh yeah.
practice
Yeah.
too. Oh, I want to do that one
mean,
map. Oh, we just other people.
Oh,
did
you
that-
can
I
change
did-
the settings right now too.
I did that to Small yesterday a lot. So yeah.
You did. You was bullying me more than the other team was.
I'm the new team leader now. Like, did
What is
everybody
this?
leave?
Yeah, we're going back to the menu to create a custom game.
Oops. I don't want to do
Oh.
that. I pushed the wrong button. No. Oh.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh, what happened?
I should have let a professional make it like Tatum or something.
I'm doing it right now.
I just heard.
I can't leave the game. I'll get penalized. Oh, somebody here. Can I go leave game? Leaving the game, are you sure? Yes. Will I be punished? Let's see. Okay, I think I'm okay. So,
Okay.
Woo.
how do we do this? Tatum, if you make a game, can I join you?
Oh yeah.
Accept. Yes. Thank you.
Right.
Sweet.
Oh. Ooh.
Oh. Invite. Exit.
It says-
Sandman, remember, we're on a team. You're not hitting me, you're hitting the other 3.
Oh my god, it's my favorite person. AI play. Oh, they went.
Oh.
Oh. I was trying to see how I could make it 1v1.
I don't think that would be arcade. That would be free for all.
There is no free for all because it's duos, teams, and then arcade.
Oh.
Let's see.
So there's last stand team member, and it says 4 teams. And when I click apply, we still only see 2 teams.
That's wacky. I like
So
how
we'll
we
have to add an AI.
Okay. Hey,
I
it's
have-
my favorite person. AI player.
Hey, I
one.
tell you what.
Deja vu.
I do think it's funny how the 2 British people are on a team and then the Americans are on a team.
Yes. Uh-oh.
I was about to say, there's the 2 gold boys or 2 gold peeps over there on blue team, and then there's just us
Yeah.
normals.
Being
Okay.
fancy in the blue team with the gold, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've never been to this bar thing before. Winter cabin?
Yeah, I think it has special locations just for custom matches.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen someone play this one and you have to throw people out windows and stuff to get them to freeze to death.
So just a normal day down the pub then, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Just an average day in a UK pub.
Oh, Salmon, you got the Discord one. That's cool.
Yeah, I got it to work this morning.
See, I want to get that Discord one, but I can't get it because the code's too short for me to redeem on my Xbox.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. Because at least for me to redeem it, it needs to be a 25 character code, and it is not that.
No. Oh wait, Pam, you're not my friend. Go away. Okay. No, put me
Go
down.
away.
Dog.
Put me down. Okay. Now what do I do? What do I do with the body?
What do you do with the body?
No, put me down.
Oh,
Put
there
me
we go. You gotta break
down.
the windows, I think.
No! Help!
Oh.
Oh, you go aside?
Help!
Wait, AI player 1, stop drinking. What are you doing? Okay.
Go
Oh, it's
outside.
me. I'm back. I'm back.
Can I open the door for you?
Oh my god.
Oh no, not the Sandman. No, Sandman. No. Don't put me out there, no, Sandman.
How are you still alive, Sandman? What is happening?
Go away. Ah.
No, no. No, push it. No, no, no. No, no, you gotta stay out there.
No.
Come on, Sandman.
Oi.
I want you to see Jack Frost. He wants to meet you.
Oh, no. Oh no, I punched AI player 1. Okay, well you can both go outside again.
You need to be careful of AI player 1 anymore. Do you hear the AI player? No, I wasn't. Okay, I was instantly frozen.
Oh!
Oh no, you're the armor, you're too heavy. Okay.
Are we doing a tango? What are we doing?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh no! Get off my nose! Ah! Not the snoot!
That's I'm going upstairs.
Oh god, okay, I'll leave you with AI player 1. Bye.
Help me, Ziggbee, help me!
What's up here?
That's not helping. Sorry. No, I still. What are you doing? I'm gonna do that too.
Oh!
No. I can roll. I'm gonna roll down the stairs. I mean, fall down the stairs. What can I get you, Sandman? What can I get you? You want something?
Milk.
No, you can't throw my stuff. This is my bar. Damn it, Sandman. No, you can't just help yourself. No.
Nom 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 nom. Oh my god.
You can drink those?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
Oh no, I'm stuck. Why am I? Okay.
Everyone's drinking except me. I'm gonna drink something.
My vision's blurry. Oh.
Help! Somebody! No.
Oh god, we're all just passed out behind the bar.
This is Bar Fight Club.
Ow!
I'm back.
I don't think we're making. I'm gonna drink some more of this. What is this stuff good?
Oh, what
Oh
did
no! I'm grabbing AI player 1.
Oh, that's empty. I can't drink that. Oh, I can hit people with this. Oh, bar fight. Now it's a real bar fight.
Oh no! Oh, okay, I'm dragged. Oh. No, put me down! Put me down!
I can't even hit you, Small.
Can't even get up!
I got you. I got you, Small.
It's just like, you're not moving!
Shit.
You're not
You're not
moving!
going nowhere.
Oh!
I passed out the bottle and I...
Oh, I'm starting to feel bad a little bit. Okay, I'll stop.
Oh my god.
I'll stop. How do I throw this thing? There, I'll drop it, okay?
Wow!
Now we'll be friends.
I just punched you to death.
No, you got it small. No. I was being nice, small. I dropped it. I dropped it. It just hit me in the butt, small.
Ziggbee,
What?
come back
You're
here.
doing good work. You're doing good work, Axie. No, don't bother Axie. Axie's minding their own business up here. No.
Help!
I can't. Small's out of control again.
Oh, now it's your turn.
There we go.
No!
There we go. AI, get out of here. Get out of here. AI.
Oh, it's dangerous behind the bar.
Sandman, come on. Your AI's helping you. No.
No.
Yes, Axie, drink all the stuff before they did. No, don't pull me. You turn the ice really fast too when you're outside.
Oh.
No!
Ah.
I found the infinite punchies glitch.
Wow.
Oh.
I'll throw these balls!
There.
Punching everybody.
Come with me.
No, let me
Come with me.
Let me go!
Oh no, that's Axie. I'm sorry, Axie. I'm gonna throw.
No. No.
This is what a mosh pit is, right?
Yeah, I think so. Exactly this. Oh.
I could say I've been in one.
No.
I can't throw you when you wiggle. No, push me out the window again. No. Are you so good at that? Oh, sorry, Axie. I'm trying to grab you again. Sorry.
I'm just being drug around by my face. Okay, fine. This is fine. Oh, no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
No. No.
I can't throw through.
Hey,
Okay.
we won.
I guess UK wins for today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Help! 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 Oh,
Hey, oh, when my character stopped talking, no one. There we go. Now I'm talking again. Probably been that way for a long time.
Oh, I guess we're doing both maps?
Okay.
I can end it if you want.
Yeah, if you could, I'm gonna head out. But you guys can still play if you want for fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for thank you, Small Tatum Pancake, Axie, and Sandman for playing with me.
Yeah.
Hopefully see you all again sometime soon. Thank you, Sky, too. Sky, if you're still here, thank you for the 1 month tier 1 subscription to being subscribed for 31 months and a nice message too. Thank you, Sky. I'll see y'all. I wish I could show you beans in this character, but I didn't set that up yet. Oh my gosh!
Hey,
He's throwing
the
me a train? No, Small! No! Alright, everybody. Take care. Have a good weekend. Hopefully see you again very soon, okay? Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh my gosh! Jeez.